Okay, great. So we'll make this recording public. We'll plan to, if at any point something gets said that you think we shouldn't have on the recording, let me know and we'll stop the recording and start a new one right then. Sound good?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So I'm excited that we're having this this connection in this meeting. I want to let you start by just introducing yourself and your company, and then we'll dive right in and we'll talk about all that we have to share. But please set the stage for us here with who you are and what you're up to.
Okay, my name is David, and it's almost a year since we started Electric Token LLC. We're a Miami-based company that's predominantly focused in Web3, NFTs, and the metaverse. And part of our mission is to look for opportunities to provide different situations where the BIPOC community can have opportunities. And so with that said, we also want to work on helping adoption in the space of all things Web3. And we want to have well over 1,000 good to great projects, therefore contributing to the adoption and really produce things of substance, things of value. And that's it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited that you guys are doing that. And I'm really excited that we have the opportunity to support you with that. Yeah, this is exciting, for me and for Uniting for Action. Let me just pause for a second. Yeah, so thank you for sharing all that, David, and thank you for what you guys are up to. And so we're going to dive right in. We're going to start creating this mind map, as I shared with you. And with that, we're just going to start putting the pieces of your business out on this map and start looking at, the ways we're going to talk about this and describe it. So let's just start with that right away. So it's Electric Token IO is the official name, is that right?
No, Electric Token LLC.
LLC, okay. Okay, perfect. And so when you're thinking about the different aspects of the business, like how are you imagining the different aspects? How do we break this down on a top level?
In what sense?
Like, again, you've got like production, which has the artist combining with production and all of that. And then you also have like, corporate relations in terms of, finding corporate clients that want to, be married with the artists and the NFT. And there's so many different aspects of your business, right? So how do you categorize them on a top level of the different clients you're serving, the different, stakeholders you're working with, whatever it looks like for you?
I mean, for us, it's more so we have an abundance of clients, but they're looking to figure out a way to come into the Web3 space.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things we're looking for is to have the resources and tools to help facilitate that transition or that production.
You said transition or production, or how to facilitate? Let's say,
yeah, transition or production into the space. Essentially creating an opportunity for the clients that we have partnerships with or we have access to that want to get in the space. They trust us enough but now it's being able to gather the tools and resources in order to come out with a bona fide project.
Okay, great. And so the tools or resources, what are those? What do those tools or resources look like?
Well, you know, capital resources, so being well capitalized, and B, having access to technologists, coders, marketers. And essentially, once we're well capitalized, these are things that, you know, I have outlets to then go higher, right? But it doesn't have, it could be where the appropriate people appreciate the vision and they want to bring the human capital.
And so when you say they want to bring the human capital, what does that look like?
Well, meaning if there's a team of devs that are like, hey, we want to work with you.
Uh-huh.
And do a strategic partnership and do a bunch of different releases or help build a metaverse. That's what I mean.
Okay, so in other words, that it could come in the form of finances to hire those people. It could be those people showing up because they want to create something with you guys.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's perfect. So in the realm of what we were talking about before, again, it's the mix between the inspiration and the incentive, right? So on the one side, they're working for free because they're inspired and whatever they're going to get out of it is going to be worth it. And on the other side, you're paying full market rate for their services and it's all financial based. And then there's always somewhere in the middle of that continuum that any relationship with any, you know, potential stakeholder or a partner or whatever client, you know, can be, right? But in the end, what we're doing now is just identifying like what are those groups of entities. Like again, you just mentioned a few of them, the coders and the marketers, those, and then what is your offer, you know, to them. And then, like you said, if you need to first bring in capital, you know, as a starting point, then we'll start with them as the potential clients, right? The people that you're approaching for capital and what you need to sell to them basically in order to have them back it, right? And I'm sure you guys are doing a lot of that. And again, what this system is doing is it's giving you the ability not only to share that, however you guys have been sharing that internally, but to start to broadcast that out to a wide network, right? Because again, for the types of people you're looking for, the types of relationships that you're looking for, if you can offer, you know, 10% referral fee or some commission, then, you know, then a lot of people could be interested in helping to support you, right? So, so that's again how we leverage all of this. So again, even though you may have that in a, you know, pitch deck that you're putting in front of investors, that sort of thing, and not that you're not going to, you know, that you're going to stop doing any of that. Of course, you're going to do all of that, and you're going to layer this whole new mechanism of reaching out to, you know, financial prospects or prospects in any area, right? By again giving like these nuggets of shareable video clips that then can get shared out by your friends to their networks. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we'll dive back in. So with that in mind, you know, again, let's keep drilling down into what it is that you need. Because like you said, if you've got plenty of this and what they're waiting on is they're waiting on you having, you know, the right mix. It sounds like the right mix of this and capital. That capital is part of the mix of all of this, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's capital or human capital.
Mm-hmm.
Either economic capital or human capital in the sense of people wanting to join the movement.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then it makes available these different things. And again, that's where I don't know if we're going to be able to get into it today. We'll see as we go. You know, we start at 6, so we'll see by 7 how far along we are. But we may get into you know, the specifics of I'm the term that's coming up with, like in the traditional world, is the sponsors, right? Traditionally, you have the opportunity for sponsors to be in the middle of, whatever is getting produced that's going to get eyeballs, and who's ever producing it. It's like, oh, well, we can, the sponsors will pay for this because they're going to get their ad in the Super Bowl, right? So we get our Super Bowl production paid for because we've got all these people paying us to so is there a mechanism like that within your model where, there's a role for a sponsor type of position?
I mean, we're not actively looking for a specific sponsor, but it's not out of the realm of opportunities, because we do have a nice amount of athletes that are part of our different partnerships, to where, because they're athletes, because they have visibility, there's always the opportunity for a collaboration between a sponsor who's looking for visibility and they're looking for identification with some of the brands that we're partnered with.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so it sounds like that's so I'm going to put the athletes. Would you put that under influencers, or what kind of?
No, they'd be clients.
They're clients. Okay.
Yeah.
So
because they're some of the partnerships that are looking for an opportunity to receive help transitioning to the Web3 space.
Right. Okay, good. So athletes are one client type, and then what are other client types that you guys are working with?
Actors are another client type. Possible companies right now as well.
Okay, good. And so again, just so I'm understanding your business model and we can, get the most out of this, these different types of entities are coming to you and saying, I want to be in the space. And then you guys are saying, okay, we can help you get in the space. What are you providing at that point?
Well, by the way, client types, you can even put authors.
Okay, great. So,
and then you could put visual artists, musicians. Essentially, these are all people that have communities already established.
Mm-hmm.
And so they want assistance transitioning and figuring out ways to create products that are Web3 related that their audience will want to transition to.
Okay, good.
And then there's also, I guess, part of the mission driven, I don't know where that fits in the mind map, but is to create opportunities for the BIPOC community. No, did you put BIPOC?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Okay.
That was separate.
Okay. So that's essentially what our legacy will be, or one of our legacies.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but so all this is to then create an opportunity for that.
Yeah. Okay, great. And so again, it's not that you're exclusively it's not that your clients are exclusively BIPOC community members, but perhaps predominantly? I mean, you're being more in that space, you're having more of an intention in that space?
No, we just know that in general, in real life, the BIPOC community is typically more so utilized or taken advantage of or copied without necessarily receiving a lot of the benefits that others who tend to borrow, take, etc.
Yeah.
So in this new world, if you will, this metaverse world, we want to be intentional to make sure that that doesn't, happen, at least not by us.
Yeah, no, I totally appreciate that. And I like, I really appreciate that angle from you guys, and that you guys are doing that and being caretakers of the communities in that way. It's really great. So I think, so I'm guessing again that again, because you guys are operating from that space, that you're attracting more clients from the BIPOC community than not, right? I'm saying that's just a natural inclination of who your clients are being, right? Or am I off on that?
No, I mean, I don't necessarily think like we're attracting that. We're just, because we have ties to music and the entertainment industry already, that's why we are attracting influencers, people of influence, period. And all the people of influence are not necessarily all BIPOC.
Got it. And those people, so the influencers, are these all the influencers, or is that
these are all people of influence? Yeah.
Okay. So good. So these are your client types. They want to have these products. And so, tell me what the different types of Web3 products are that you guys are offering.
Sure. I mean, well, it's not necessarily that we're offering, but we're looking to bring them into specific spaces. So one, is the metaverse. So we're actually building in in one of the metaverses right now.
Right. Which one?
Sandbox. So metaverse products is one Web3 opportunity. NFTs in general, that's another opportunity.
Right. And with the NFTs, there's a few branches that you mentioned to me before, like investing and creating, minting, right? Tell me the different.
Yeah, I mean, because the NFT, so NFTs can come in the metaverse, can come as a metaverse product, where to get into a metaverse, you have to have an NFT as an access point or an access token to get into the metaverse. We're also looking to build streaming, audio and video streaming products within the Web3 that interact with access point NFTs again. We're looking to do live events that, again, are accessed by or through the utilization of NFTs. And the list can go on and on. It's essentially, we're looking to bridge the physical, tangible world, if you will, to the digital world, which is, for now, all intents and purposes, considered Web3.
Okay, good. So that's really good and really helpful. So in this map, and I know we'll fill it in more, but tell me again, like where your top needs are. I think we're probably going to come back to the tools and resources you're looking for, if I remember.
Yeah, easily. If we had the right capital structure, there's a lot of, I could potentially roll out like 100 different projects.
So that's great. So do you want to share with me? It sounds like that also is like your top need is the capital structure, because like you said, if you have that, then you have everything. So you want to kind of catch me up on where you guys are at in that process and see how maybe we can support hand in hand wherever you're at in that process right now?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're just creating our deck, and we're creating our models so that we can then approach specific, investors. And I'm not really I'm not handling any of that. I'm just working on the partnerships and having conversations with different IPs and just seeing where the synergies are.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. So do you guys have a time frame, do you know, for when your deck is going to be ready and when you're going to be out there creating the ask?
They'll probably have the deck ready, I'd say, within the next 60 days or less.
Great, great. And is there a specific figure that you guys are looking for? Do you know? Are you guys putting that out there publicly?
That part I don't know. I mean, Jacob would have to comment on
Okay.
that
You
because
can-
they're
you can
they're
fill it-
having specific discussions of who they're going to approach people in their specific network.
Right, right. Yeah, you can fill in any of those details on the page if you want later. Again,
Okay.
part of what we're focusing on with the system, just to kind of help you understand all the specifics, is that again, we're creating opportunity for a specific need and a specific ask to be met, and for people to know what it is that's being asked, so they know who to connect people with. Because if you're asking for 300,000 or you're asking for 3 million or you're asking for 30 million, it's going to be a different type of person that
Sure.
somebody's going to want to send to you. And if they don't know anything, then they don't know what to connect you with. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, I would say, and I know what to do with 100,000, and I think we can figure out what to do efficiently with 10 million. Right? There's essentially, outside of above a billion, there's a lot we could do because of the other resources I have access to. What the bigger the amount, the faster we can get to specific goals. That's really the big difference.
I hear you. I understand. And it's great that you shared it that way, because now that explanation is out there, and now people know that it's a range of, can be bigger, can be, something more modest that you can do something with.
It's just speed and projects. That's what capitalization does. As long as you know what you're using it for.
I'm right there with you. I understand, we're right in the boat of putting it all together similarly, so we can get, a lot of what we're doing capitalized. So I totally understand. And that's great that you're putting it that way. So, so I think, again, in the model that we're setting up with the referral system, and, ask me whatever questions you have about it. But again, we're creating this standardization, and well, I will have to go into trying to think what details to share with you. We're asking people to provide that are receiving finances within the referral system to earmark 15% for the system in order to provide the referral percentages and that sort of thing. So 10% goes to the person that makes the connection, 2% goes to the person that signed that person up, so that the person that, people are incentivized to bring other people into the system that are doing business in the system. And then 1% to the second generation person that brought that person in. And then 2% to Uniting for Action to build out the whole system. So that's how the 15% is getting allocated. And we're just asking everybody who's using the referral system to build that in when they're doing the billing, all of that. So that, but as you know, most people have at least a 15% budget marketed for marketing or sales or what have you. So this essentially, creates that part of it for it. So if that's a structure that you're comfortable with, whether you can say that now or have to think about it and get back, that's the opportunity for you to tap into the referral system itself. Otherwise, we are still going through this process to identify and put out all the pieces that you're looking for. It's just a matter of whether you're essentially going to be incentivizing it financially for the other people in the network. And then when you share with your network and that sort of thing, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
So any thoughts about that right now off the top of your head?
I mean, I would probably just need it broken down on how you guys envision the referral fee, and then basically share that with Jacob. But essentially, if people bring resources to the table, there should be, some type of opportunity to reward them for doing so.
Yeah,
Obviously, sometimes it's not cash because cash wasn't brought, but resources were brought to help create situations that lead to cash, and so they can latch on and be a part of those opportunities as well. But to me, that's always the easy part, is figuring out, what is the reward for bringing the opportunity.
yeah, it's really great. And I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you holding that consciousness and that energy, because that's, again, what this whole referral system is built on, so that everybody is having that opportunity and that benefit all the time. Because, as you know, most of us have all kinds of connections that we could connect. It's just that we're not incentivized enough to overcome the hesitancy that if we try to connect people and it doesn't work out, it's going to make us look bad, or we're going to have some negative, it's going to negatively impact our standing with those people potentially, right? But when we're so incentivized and everybody wants to make it work, and I'm going to help make it work because I'm incentivized to do so, then a lot more gets done, right? So I appreciate you guys being in that space. And yeah, I'll send you the breakdown, because we want to get very specific with that on the website and all that. So that's perfect. So in that regard, let's go right into this sheet. And let's talk about, some of the specifics, like, coder, marketer, let's get into the specific, different tools or resources that you're looking for. I don't know why this is centered. And start figuring out what incentives, you can offer, so that this can be very specific. And again, this will start to make up the, what's going to be, again, on your dashboard, essentially, that anybody can see. So for the vision, how would you describe the vision?
In terms different from what we already mapped out?
I would say this is going to be more of like the phrase version. You gave me the 2-3 minute version of what electric token is the vision is, but now how would you describe it in just a few words? So something like create onboarding opportunities into Web3. What do you think?
I would think mostly. Do you have that slide again or no? Okay.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah, I think, again, well, what do you think about what I just said? Create onboarding opportunities into Web3, or something along those lines.
I would say just creating the intersection between access and community. So creating the intersection between access and community, utilizing all things Web3.
Okay, great. So that's great. And so I just threw in coder and marketer. Do you want to go down that road right now, or are there other needs?
So you got your coders, you've got website builders, you've got smart contract writers. You've got community managers. Then you've got social media managers. I mean, even someone to write copy, right?
Yeah, so I'm getting the different aspects. And so again, I get the kind of chicken egg scenario, and where it's like, well, what do you pay those people? It's like, we don't have the budget to pay those people yet till we have the money show up. And then, but have you recruited from those different pools yet?
I mean, I'm always having conversations. And
Yeah, I mean,
so some
so you're
groups where it's getting, it's building that relationship and building the rapport to then see when the opportunities present themselves, because it's also a timing situation. So everything is about timing.
right,
So
right.
right now I'm having the conversations because we don't know when the timing might be here.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. So again, you're interested in continuing to build your directory of contacts, essentially your Rolodex of contacts in these different relationship types. It's just a matter of not being at a place of looking to hire them today necessarily. It's more of like knowing who to turn to when the opportunity arises, right?
Yeah, I mean, if a dev team says, "Hey, let's work like we did on the one project that's on the website, the Young DNA project," that we worked with two major dev teams, and they wanted to just have a strategic alliance for that specific project. So open to those scenarios because they have their own infrastructure already, is just finding an opportunity to make this more long-term when those opportunities present themselves.
Yeah. So as you're saying that, what I'm thinking to myself is, how, where do you find those dev teams, and how do you incentivize them, to want to work with you now again? And it seems like, again, it seems like the latent value, if I'm perceiving it correctly, is in your clients, essentially, right? The relationships that you have with your clients, because they.
Well, I mean, the IP and the IP access is rather generous. And so that's why.
That's what you have to offer. That's when you say generous, that's what you have to offer to dev teams or others, is that they get to work with your IP.
Correct. They get to build a catalog and a body of works. They get the opportunity to have immediate credibility with some of these IPs without having to build the trust, because we already have the trust.
Right. Yeah. So let me get that down. So what they get is they get a body of work with your IP, and you said media attention, and what else?
That's an immediate credibility.
Immediate credibility.
And there's also obviously financial rewards as well.
Right.
On the back end, obviously.
Okay, good. So again, you're seeing how we're starting to hone in on really specific incentives that you have to offer that can then be packaged, and then your friends, other people can start sharing them with all of these different entities that they know, right? That's essentially where we're going with this. So we want to keep kind of building out, like, what is your incentive package to offer people to work with you, and then also what the incentive package is for the referrers, for anybody to refer, you to these people, knowing that you're going to offer them this. And then if whatever comes through, then I can give you this, right? And so this is where we want to group them together as much as it's going to essentially be the same kind of incentive and the same kind of referrers. But once we are offering something different to the coders than we are to the community managers, that's where we want to break it out and have it on a different line in here, so you can have your different incentives and you can have it structured in a way that, you're matching what your incentives are with the actual providers that you're looking for. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So you tell me, these are all pretty general and these are all, pretty general to these. Does this fit for all of these, or are some of these going to be in a different category of incentives?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same, simplicity
Similar.
wise.
Okay. So any other incentive pieces of or aspects of incentives that we can add in here at the moment? And you can always add more later.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay. So the analysts, just for you to understand, we won't spend a lot of time on it now, but the analysts are the experts that you can turn to, or the people that you can turn to that can help you know more of the specifics that you don't already know, right? So if you don't know like what production cost would be for a certain type of thing, but you have a friend that like does that, then he can give you an idea of what the budget's going to be and how long it's going to take and that sort of thing. You get what I'm saying? Any of the expertise that you guys don't have in-house that you ever need to tap into in order to, realize your vision, basically, are going to be your analysts. So just so that you have an idea of what that looks like and how that works, is there anybody that's coming in your head that you turn to ask for, any specifics, clarifications, details, understanding?
No, I mean, it goes back to those providers, because there are providers that are experts in that realm. And while they might not have the bandwidth to take on any projects, they can surely provide, expertise resources as to cost of operation. So it really goes back to that.
So they're one and the same for you, essentially. Your access.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, perfect. That simplifies it. So we can pull the analysts out. Okay, so let's focus on the referrers. So again, who can be referrers for you? Like even thinking about, like our Twitter audience, or, that realm, as well as like specific people and specific entities and specific whatever. So
I mean, anyone can really. It'll be the referrer is going to be the connectors.
Right. Right. So, and, again, the distinction here, I think, is going to be that you're going to manage different referrers in different ways, right? So like, for example, if Jacob says to you, hey, David, I'm going to connect you with this guy and he might be able to support us with this. So, you're going to take care of that person and manage that person different than you would just a follower on Twitter, unless you knew different, right? Like there's already, so your whole interaction might be different. So you want to identify the different kind of lanes of prospects of referrers, or categories of referrers, because you want to figure out, what is my incentive or my communication look like, with this category of referrers or this category of referrers. So, as much as you can categorize it, again, if it's all going to be the same, totally fine too. It makes it simple, but I'm just trying to help you see where, you could have different communications with different types of referrers.
No, I mean, there might be somebody that might be like, hey, I know this DAO that would love to finance you guys. because of your access to IP and your vision or whatever, right? So there's people that could connect us with a DAO. There's people that might just say, hey, I know this private equity firm that wants to really get into Web3 and they saw what you have on the website. They really like what you've already done. So there's capital referrals, and then there's referrals that would be coming from, hey, let me introduce you to this dev team, or let me introduce you to this marketing team, or to this community management team. So there's those types of referral or referrers as well.
Right. And so then I guess as you're saying that, then it's going to be different incentives too, like you're saying, right? Because if you've got somebody that's being a financial referrer, then it's very straightforward. Oh, we're getting this money, we can give you this percentage of it. Whereas if it's a dev team or something like that, like you're saying, that there isn't necessarily money being exchanged, but it's creating value for you, then what, and you mentioned before, they could get the value on the back end. Let's maybe narrow down to what that looks like and what you can actually offer to people if somebody shows up with it.
I mean, it could be on the back end. So for example, if somebody on Twitter that I've never met, I don't have a big relationship with, but they saw our thing, they saw our website, they saw our projects, and they're like, hey, I should connect you with this dev team. They might not necessarily get, an economic offer on the back end that's straightforward, but it could be like where we would give them a spot, a pre-sale spot, also known as a whitelist or WL. So we could give them a VIP spot to buy before the public sale. So it can be as little as that to as big as they get some type of financial reward on the back end. And so, but those are things that would have to be obviously, discussed, and it would most likely be a case by case basis.
Yeah. So did I get this right? Give them a pre-sale spot, whitelist, WL spot before the public sale, possibly something on the back end. Did I get all that right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So that's perfect. Now we're really getting the details we need in order to put an offer out there to people. So are there any other things besides the whitelist and possibly something on the back end financially?
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of right now.
Okay. And again, you can always, that's where,
but and I don't know if you're gonna put another referrer would be someone who brings in capital, obviously.
mm-hmm.
Because the person who brings in capital might want a percentage of the raise, but they might also want the same thing as in the whitelist pre-sale spot as well. Because if they think that the project's going to be successful, they might want that as well.
Right. Okay, that's great. So, yep. So actually, we could say provider. A different type is your capital provider, right? And while we're there, what is the incentive that you're offering to the capital provider?
The person that actually is the angel investor, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for them, essentially, depending, again, it's going to depend on the personality type, right? So it could be economic incentives from the profits, and it also could be some of the same offers that any of the other referrals would get. But again, it's going to be contingent upon what that entity wants. They might just want the ability and opportunity to be able to cash in, right, and have an exit. Or they might be someone that's into the NFT space, that understands the NFT space, so they want to do both. They want to cash in. I guess my wife's calling me. Can we pause it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute real quick.
Okay, great. So, let Let me get back to sharing. Okay, good. So you're mentioning it could be different drivers again for the capital providers. I think one of the things that we probably want to do, now while we're into the incentives and all of that, is give people an idea of the dollar amount so they understand the potential financial impact for them. So, and I know it's going to be a range based on the project, but maybe you can, create some expectations. Like if you can bring us this, then it's going to, potentially be, $50 for you, or it's potentially going to be hundreds of dollars or thousands. You get what I'm saying? There's, I think we need to figure out some way of putting some kind of estimate of dollar figures for these different things for you if you want to, dollar wise incentivize people to bring those entities to you, right?
Yeah.
So where can we fall in the range? Let's go back to the specifics. Let's start, I guess. And again, you don't have to necessarily come up with final numbers now, but you want to come up with numbers that you can add to this. So I think the first will be the capital provider, right? And that can be.
I mean, it would still kind of be just premature. It's honestly, it really comes down to this situation where if somebody's really interested in helping us because they like what we're doing and they're very more interested, these are all things that if they are serious and B, they have real connections, we can always address those things at that time. Because right now we're just, I think it would be premature. It's not ripe yet. Okay.
So, but sufficient to say that you're looking for hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, and that somebody could potentially earn some percentage of what would come in, in exchange for the connection.
100%. They would be very, very happy, put it that way.
Well, that's what I want you to be able to get across on the video, right? Because I don't think that's been captured yet in our video. And so we want to have people really understand, like you're saying, that they would be very, very happy, right?
I mean, this is how I feel when I speak to different people. I feel that we're well positioned, that if someone were to bet on us, meaning Electric Token, in the end, cumulatively, they'll have been happy they did so.
Right.
But we can't predict the future, and we definitely don't want to force people to do something or manipulate them. It's really, there is an opportunity. We're going to get where we're supposed to get no matter what. But here's an opportunity because we're so early that they can get in on the ground floor and have an affiliation, make money with us, and have an opportunity to even make more money with us. So that I don't want to, I don't want to force the issue. Whatever's to happen is going to happen. It's really more so like, here we are. There's an opportunity for people that know us and they get involved early. We're here to create opportunities, because that's how we see it. We see that there's so much abundance around us that things are going to fall into place, and we're being intentional, obviously, about the steps we're taking. But at some point or another, it breaks open.
Yeah, I totally get that. And it's really great that you're saying that. And I think, part of what there is to get across right now so that people understand the foundation of it, from what I'm hearing, is that a lot of it, let me go back to the mind map, and you can tell me what are the other, things that make up the value of what you're bringing. But when you mentioned the deep relationship connections into a lot of the different clients that you have, and
because that's a lot.
Exactly. And
we're not talking about people that don't have known communities. I'm talking about these people have real known communities. So it's, I think for me, I kind of operate so much that it's like normal. So I'm not like, I'm not like, you know what I mean? Like, because I want to be as balanced as I can. But sometimes when I sit back and I'm like, yeah, this is a little weird that all these contacts and connections are really there. And I'm talking about they're solid. I even read an article today out of the blue. It's an article on 1:37 p.m. magazine, which Gary Vee owns. He's a major business influencer. And I'm like, oh, wow, they're writing about a person who's part of a written partnership agreement that we already have established to do Web3 stuff. So when things like that just happen, like completely like out of the blue, I'm just reading and I'm like, oh, look, there's an article and I have a partnership with this person. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's amazing, I think. And we're grateful for that. So now I just want to continue the momentum and take the steps, because obviously if that's happening, I'm like, there's an article and I have a partnership and this person is being praised and looked at the next big thing, and we already have an established written partnership agreement with their representative. That clear to me, that means we're heading in the right direction, and we're doing this without major resources already.
Yeah, I totally get that. And that's again where I want to get some of this across on video, because like you said, it's in you, the feelings are in you. We want everyone to be able to see it. So I really appreciate you sharing all of that. I'm feeling that underneath the surface. And the other part I want you to share about, because I know not everyone will know what it means, is when you keep mentioning the IP. And I want you to explain what it means in terms of the people and what they're bringing, and all the different.
Yeah. I mean, the IP is the intellectual property. So there's an appropriate situation for everyone that's a major player in the space of influence. So therefore, our network, is always touching someone of massive influence, whether it's political, whether it's in the entertainment sector. We essentially cover a broad network of major influencers.
Right.
But the key is not to just go to the major influencers, say, hey, we want to build our track record because we're here for longevity.
Right.
Right. We sincerely want to contribute to the space. It's not all about just making money. Right. It's about having the ability and opportunity and the vision to contribute to creating massive adoption, and that chasing that dragon is makes you get up out of bed. Yeah,
I hear you, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate where you're coming from with that, and it's great that you've shared it that way, and it's awesome. And I think again, that's where, like, I'm pulling out pieces that you shared. That you have those established relationships organizationally with those influencers, and they trust you, and that's the basis of a lot of the value that you're holding on to, so to speak, right? So this is again the value that you have to leverage with these different entities that you're incentivizing. When you were on the phone, I was thinking like another potential incentive, and I don't know if you've done this or you would do this or you talked about it, but again, with the influencers, a lot of people are really.
Hold on real quick. Sorry.
Sure.
This is a medical call.
You want to just essentially wrap up what you just said? Unfortunately, we're going to have to stop abruptly here, but.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, because I have to take this call with a physician regarding the PPEC that they have just started, and I used to be in that space for 4 years with the medically critically ill children.
How we connected, and I totally understand that you have to run. We will continue the conversation. I'm glad that we could get this far. I hope that you feel really good about what we've already done, and now I'll start to package it up and send it to you, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely, and if you want, I mean, we could probably pick back up if you have time at 8 o'clock. I don't foresee this call lasting more than 30 minutes, if that. So honestly, we could probably pick back up at 7:40 if you want, contingent on your schedule.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow, whatever is best.
Okay, let's, I mean, we were almost at the end, so that's, we've only got like 5 or 10 minutes left in our hour, but I know you have to go now, so we'll figure it out. Okay. I don't know if tonight, we'll figure it out. I'll text you.
But I think it seems like we got enough for you to work from.
For sure. For sure. I think we got almost everything that I would have gotten. So go
Yeah.
ahead and take your call and
All
we'll
right,
take
man.
from
It was
there.
good seeing you. Good chatting with you.
You too,
Appreciate
David. It's really great. I'm excited. Thank you for all of that. I'm excited to see what we can make of it.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
If you can, follow up with Alex to see where he is.
Yes.
I don't want to push it, right? I don't want to, but I know that he's created a great sphere of influence that with him, the capital probably wouldn't be necessary.
Got it.
With some of the IPs that I can activate right now. Because
Awesome.
he has essentially, I'm sure, like the dev, the marketing, he's got all that stuff and might make sense.
Perfect. Thank you for mentioning that. It's awesome. Great to see you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye-bye.